Hi lovers, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm super excited to be doing this. I'm super excited to be here once again. Thank you so much for subscribing. I've been seeing like more people subscribing to my channel and I'm super excited. Thank you for joining this family. And if you are still hesitating on subscribing, what are you waiting for? Anyways, I actually always look at my YouTube analytics and I realized that most of my viewers are not even subscribed to the channel. Sometimes it hurts me to know that I'm putting so much effort in making content and you are watching but you are not subscribing for one reason I don't even know. So please, if you've not subscribed because of one reason or the other, I'm sorry if I offended you. Just please subscribe to the channel. So today I'm basically going to be talking about travel expenses, like how much should you budget and what's actually like the traveling cost, like what's the cost of travel, traveling cost to France. And if you're not traveling to France but you're looking to travel to another country, maybe in Europe or somewhere else, you can hang around and this video could be helpful to you. So let's get into the video. Before I get into the video, I'll just like to apologize for some of my previous videos. I think the sound in some of my previous videos, it was really like bad. This is actually, I got a mic. This is actually the second microphone I'm getting. Like the one I used in those videos was the second one I was going to be getting and it was still having issues. So I got one the first time, I had to like return it. I got another one. So for now, I'm just going to use my voice and I actually have a loud voice, so I don't really need mic. I just needed it for like outdoor stuff and yeah, let's get into the video. So you want to travel out of the country, wherever country you're coming from. So I'm going to be directing my attention towards Nigerians mainly because I'm Nigerian. And so maybe if I mention like money, I'm going to be using like naira. I'll try to slot in like the dollar equivalent if I know, but if I don't know, I'll just stick to naira. So you can do the conversion for your country or something like that. So basically, before you travel, you already know you're traveling. It's already like sure. So what are the things that you need to put in place? So first thing I'll advise you to do is to get a book, like a little book or whatever, and a pen where you're going to like write out your budget, because that's very essential. You don't go anywhere without like making financial like budgets and stuff like that. Call me old school, I like it. I still have books with me everywhere I go and I'm always writing something. So first, what are the things that you're going to need money for? You're going to need money for flight, so that will be first in your budget book. Flight expenses. You're going to need visa expenses, so you might be coming as a tourist, as a student, to work or any kind of visa, business or something. So you're going to need like visa expenses. You're going to need installation expenses if there's something like that, like settlement expenses, like at least when you get to your place where you're traveling to, you're going to need to like settle down and buy things and pay rent, get housing and all those things. So I'll just call that installation stroke settlement expenses. Actually, what inspired this video is the fact that a lot of people have been sending me messages due to the fact that my recent content have been based around applying to work in France. So some people have sent me messages that how much should they have, how much should they budget and stuff like that. And I just feel like everyone is different. I could budget 2 million, 1 million for myself. Another person could do just fine with 500k, 500,000. I'm Nigerian, so we just put K. I don't know if any other country does that. Let me know in the comment section. So another person would do just fine with 500,000 for everything. Another person would need at least a minimum of 2 million naira, not dollars, 2 million naira. So in dollar, that should be like roughly $1,000, $1,005, $2,000, depending on your pocket. Some always have like so much savings and they take like $4,000, so that depends on everyone's pocket. So travel expenses like flights, even if it's just a one-way flight, then visa expenses, installation or settlement expenses, and also like miscellaneous. So I'm going to break down everything one after the other. So you're traveling out of Nigeria to, let's say, France. So my first time traveling out of Nigeria to France, my flight cost was about, I think, 220 something thousand naira. So the second time it was about 250 something, depending on the flight you take actually. So sometimes if you take an expensive flight, obviously you should be looking at 300,000, 500,000 ish. So, and cheaper flights are also available for like 200, 180 if you book like well in advance, like 3 months ahead. But in a situation where you've not gotten your visa, you want to be careful. You don't want to book like 4 months ahead and you're just having faith that I'm going to get the visa, and then you book it, you don't get your visa, the airline does not cannot refund you. Stuff like that happen. There's some situations where they refund you half of it, which you're still not going to be happy about. So flight expenses. So I just talked about how much I booked my own flight. So let's say you want to make a budget, you can put 250, 270, 280, at most 300,000 for flight expenses. Just one way, please. But if you are going to be if you're going to be budgeting like a two-way flight expenses, like go, come, aller, retour, that's could be cheaper. It could be like 350,000, like both go, come. It could be 350, it could be 400. I think that's always cheaper than just one way. Anyways, that's that. So now we're going to be talking about visa expenses. So you need to research, go online and look at how much visa costs for studies, how much it costs for maybe business, or how much are you going to pay for it. So my work visa, normally I should pay 90,000 naira in Nigeria for work, French work visa. But because my visa is kind of like waived off, I got a waiver of my visa, so I paid just 20,000 naira. So for students, you won't get a waiver. It's because my job contract covers my visa expenses actually. So you have to check your contract, does it cover your visa expenses and things like that. So actually, I won't even say it covered my visa expenses, because when I got here, I still had to pay 200. I'm going to get there. That's part of settlement costs. So yeah, don't let me jump. So visa expenses, just make sure you research the country you are traveling to before you even apply for visa. How much do I need for visa? So it could range from 90, 100,000 naira and stuff like that. So also put that in your budget. So now I'm talking about installments, installation, settlement. That's your very first 2 months. You're going to be trying to get settled. So an example, using myself as an example, as a worker coming here to work, I had to put in place, because even in the contract it says that I might not get paid until the end of the second month I get here, due to traffic, so many workers, and they might just mistakenly leave me out, or if my paperwork don't get to them on time, I might not get paid for the first month, so I'll have to wait till the end of the second month. So I just had to put all these things in place. You have to, that you're not going to live on the roof, so you need to search for accommodation. And if you're coming as a student, obviously before you can even get visa, you need an accommodation. So that's you're already installing yourself from whatever country you're traveling from. So you have to go on sites, student accommodation sites, and search and book and pay and all this. So that should also be part of your budget. But talking from my own experience, I was coming to work. Normally if I had chance to discuss with maybe house owners via phone from my country, trusted ones that maybe my institution already sent to me, I could have done that and maybe paid a deposit from Nigeria. But luckily I didn't have to do that. I had to come here first. So you have to either look for, when you get here and you don't know anybody, no one is willing to take you in, you really need to like maybe look into getting an hotel, and hotels are not cheap. Per night it could be like 40 euros. That's cheap hotels, not like Paris and big places. Could be like 40 euros, 50 euros per night, but they'll give you like breakfast, pain and cafe, like coffee and bread. So that was just by the way. You could look into getting an Airbnb. You can book an Airbnb from your own country, and the Airbnb you can book to stay there for like 2 weeks. So that 2 weeks could be roughly, okay, now I'm talking in euros, but I'll try to do the conversion to naira if possible. So let's say you're booking an Airbnb that you're going to be there for like 2 weeks while you're like looking for an actual house to move into. Airbnb for 2 weeks should be around maybe 250 euros for those 2 weeks, like cheap Airbnb, or 200, 250, 300, extreme cases. Okay, let's just say 200, 250. And in naira, that should be about 150k, 150,000, like roughly. So you know that installation cost is not cheap. Now you could be lucky and then someone from where you work decide to offer you a temporary accommodation at his or her place. Some of them still collect money. I have colleagues that got invited to stay at someone's house, and per week they had like one person per week, she had to pay the person 50 euros, which is extremely cheap. So the more she stays in the person's house, let's say she stays in the person's house for 1 month, that's 4 weeks, that's 200 euros. So before the end of the 1 month, obviously she got her own place and she moved out. So that's an option, but it's not everyone is nice, and not everyone is going to offer you that. I know people that like they told them that you pay me 150 euros per week. So it depends on how lucky you are and how much you pray. So if you pray very well, I don't know, I'm just saying that because I'm a prayer person. If you pray very well, you can be very lucky. So in my own situation this time, I already discussed with my colleague that was already here and already had an accommodation, that sorry, I'm going to stay with you for a week while I search for my place, because I thought it was really going to be easy. So staying with her for a week, obviously we had to eat, I had to buy things too and stuff like that. Then after that, I still didn't get a place. So the options left for me were to like get an Airbnb, go to an hotel and everything like that. So luckily my prayers worked and I was invited by a teacher to stay at his family house, and voila, I was there for free. And yeah, it's rare for you to find things like, when I even left that teacher's place, I still hadn't found a place, so I moved into another teacher's house for free. So I was going to move to the third teacher's house when I finally got a place to stay. So that moving from one place to the other could be hotels and Airbnbs, and you have to spend money. Of course, in these people's houses, I wasn't eating 3 square meals because it's not my house. So basically, if I take only dinner basically with them, during the day, I try to sort myself out, buying things like junks or whatever that could just satisfy my hunger. So do you understand? So that's everything I call installation, settlements, unforeseen circumstances. Anything could happen. You might not find an accommodation early. You might find an accommodation, and every accommodation, okay, now let me talk about accommodation. Even when you find an accommodation, it's not just enough to pay the rent. You have to pay something. In France and in Europe, you have to pay caution fee. Caution fee is like a guarantee, like a deposit, like, okay, I'm not going to spoil anything in your house. So at the end of your stay, if you don't spoil anything and they come to check and everything is fine, they give you back your caution fee. Germany, Europe, anywhere, even UK, yes, you pay caution fee. So, and the caution fee is like the same amount that you're paying for the rent, or even more. So let's say your rent is 500 euros per month, your caution fee would also be 500, or sometimes maybe 450, or sometimes 600. So it means the first month you are moving into that house, you're actually paying times 2. So do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know if you get the point. So at the end of your stay, if you don't spoil anything, they return it back to you. But if they see that like, some things are like missing or anything, they could choose to reduce it, like the amount they return back to you, or even confiscate the whole money. So anything could happen in terms of installation, first month settlement, or you could get a place that is not even furnished. So you'd have to like buy like a mattress, you'd have to buy beddings, like, you know, those places where there are no furnitures could be cheaper, obviously, but then you have to use your own money to buy beddings, use your money to buy heater. Like, I had a friend that had to stay in a place, like she stayed there basically and would have bought heater with our money, and that's going to be like maybe a cheap heater, like a bedside heater, could just be like 70 something euros. So she got a free heater eventually from one of our housemates that just said, oh, let me just pity this Nigerian girl. So those are the circumstances that could come up. So for installation and settlements and everything, I like in Naira, I think you should be thinking towards like 500,000, a minimum of like 500,000 Naira, or 400,000 Naira if you search, you tarry and everything, and you still cannot like find money. Maybe 400,000 Naira, just to avoid stories that touch. Who calculated everything I've been saying? I don't know if you've been calculating, but you need money. So traveling out of the country is not easy. Also, whether from your country or when you get to the new country, you need to buy like cold clothes. You need to buy like, because you sometimes after you've bought like cardigans and sweatshirts and stuff like that from your country, you get to the country you are traveling to and you realize that, oh no, everything I bought, let me just use those ones as underwear. Then now buy real cold stuff that would actually save for the cold, because sometimes you could, especially if you're traveling to that country during winter, just budget money, and those cold clothes are expensive. Minimum of like 35 euros, 45, 50, 60, depending on how thick they are. So I talked about miscellaneous. Miscellaneous are just those, like I said, unforeseen circumstances that could happen. You might not get, let's say you're coming for work, like in my situation, I came here to work and I have colleagues that didn't get paid until like the 3rd month. So how were they supposed to like survive, like eating and, you know, transport and several expenses like that? So miscellaneous. And also for France and European countries, when you get here, you have to like validate your visa. So you have to pay. That's what I said I wanted to talk about. So you have to validate your visa. So I validated my visa for 200 euros. So that's why I feel like the visa was not even free. I paid 20,000 Naira in Nigeria and I came here to come and pay 200 euros. So I don't see it being free. I see it being 200 euros is about, please do the calculation. I can't remember. Like, it was the first time I came to France that I was always calculating everything. Like, if I want to buy bread, once I see the price, my brain, I just like, let's say the bread is 2 euros. I just calculate it 2 times. Then 1 euro was like 500-ish, 500 Naira-ish. So 2 euros times 2, that's 1,000. And I'll be like, is this bread worth 1,000? Oh my god. But then like the very first 2 weeks or 1 month, I was always calculating and I was always dropping everything, because I feel like, no, this thing is something they're selling. It's also in my country. But don't be deceived. You're also going to be in that kind of situation, but as time goes on, you just forget about it, because you are earning in euro and you cannot keep living in Naira. You have to upgrade your thinking capacity to euro. If you're earning in dollars, you upgrade your thinking to dollars and just forget about the equivalent and just live your life. So specifically tell you that have 1 million Naira, have 1.5 million Naira. I didn't mention that in this video. So just look at yourself and kind of draft out a rough sketch and think of the amount you're going to need. So eventually, if you feel you are like an hustler and then you are going to manage 500,000 is okay for everything, out of 500,000, half of it you use it for flights, then the remaining half you're just going to shoulder the code and use the remaining half to maybe book an Airbnb or try to, just several things like that. If you know that you can manage and everything, good luck. If you know you cannot manage, just try to like use the time you have before your travel to like come up with where to find money. And yeah, if this video was helpful, please leave a thumbs up and please comment down below. And if you have questions, ask in the comment section or send me a DM, and I'm going to answer to the best of my knowledge. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about possibilities of getting host families in France, and host families that you would stay in their house for free and work for them maybe, and then that could also save your life and change your life. So stay tuned. I love you.